Alafia, and welcome to the online IFA classroom. My name once again is David Graham. I go by Awo Ifa Foray at the IFA Foundation International. And a few things before we get started today. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone who's left positive comments, sent encouraging emails. I've received several correspondence lately from folks just like myself who said thank you very much for the work that you're doing. We indeed could not find anywhere on the internet or in print to receive information about this philosophy in clear, concise terms that we can understand. And thank you for the work that you're doing. And that means a lot. That is the sole reason for the channel, the sole reason for the work that I'm doing. As I'm sure you can understand, there's no monetary compensation involved. I make these videos and work with people who want the knowledge of Ifa, the wisdom of Ifa, the ability to change your life through this philosophy, who have not been able to get their hands on content that they can easily follow, easily understand. And so it means a lot. Thank you. Second thing, please pardon any sniffling, sneezing, nasal sounding that you may hear. Came down with a little bit of a cold a few weeks ago. It's still lingering. But I was reminded by someone the other day that it's been a while since I've done a video and I need to get to work. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Today's piece is going to be about the way that it's always been done. Beware. It's an admonition of being locked in space and time. The idea that there is only one way to do things. I get asked by folks all the time, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you create this tool? How do you perform this ceremony? What does this Odu mean in divination? And my reply is always, this is how I do something. This is what that Odu means to me. This is what that Odu has meant historically. That does not mean that that's the way that it's done. I would caution anyone out there who is trying to learn this philosophy or any meaningful philosophy to be very wary of those that tell you that their way is the way that it is done. They're typically selling something. The truth about African Ifa, as it was passed to us from the men and women who reside in what is now Nigeria in Western Africa, and who it is clear to me migrated there at some earlier point, is that this was an oral tradition. Ifa originated before written word, before history, before running water, electricity, all the modern conveniences that we have. And so the wise men and women understood that they had to pass the foundational principles, the worldview on to the next generation. And they did that through oral stories, through metaphors, parables. But they also understood that this philosophy had to be pliable. It had to move. It had to shift. It had to change in order to keep up with the times, in order to keep up with the technology, in order to keep up with the ever-growing world that it was a part of. And so you'll find different variations on ceremonies, different variations on traditions, certainly different variations on Odu, our sacred scripture, if you will. On translations of Odu. In Santeria Lukumi, you'll find patakis, and there can be hundreds of patakis for one Odu. The reason for this is very simple. The patakis were meant to be teaching tools. Again, metaphors, parables, stories that one could use to understand the energy of the Odu or understand the energy of the Orisa. They were not meant to be frozen in time, that this Odu always means this, that this ceremony is always performed this way. Are there better and worse ways of doing things? Absolutely. Are there traditions that we learn from our elders that we subscribe to, that we take under our belt, that we make our go-to, and that we use regularly? Absolutely. Is it the only way to do it? Absolutely not. I would tell you that any good Ifa practitioner, any good Ifa priest, has their wheelhouse of ways that they do things that work for them and get the desired results. And those are typically taught to us by our elders. And then once we put them under our belt and we get our arms around them, we typically add variations to make them our own. And that's the way that it should be. So the next question that I get from those that I work with that are intelligent, thoughtful individuals is, well, if there are different ways of doing things, how do I know which one is the best? Bad question. Better question is, how do I know which one is the best for me? I would tell you the answer is very simple. Look at the mentor or the elder that you're working with. Does their life exemplify the life of someone that you'd like to learn from? Are they well adjusted? Are they grounded? Are they self sufficient? Are they successful? Do they have happy, lasting relationships? Do they walk this journey with what we try to teach, good character? Are they connected to the Orisa, to Orumula, to their ancestors? Are they respected in the Ifa community? All of these are important questions to ask. If you don't know the answer, or if you think any of those answers are questionable, you may want to think to yourself, is this someone that I really want to study under? Is this someone that I really want to learn from? But if the answers to those questions are yes, and if you can verify the authenticity of the person you're learning from, and you have spoken to others who have worked with this person or had ceremonies performed and the results were favorable, they got the desired result, their life is getting better, they're learning, then I would encourage you to open up your heart and your mind and consider that this might be someone that you'd want to learn from. I can't stress enough that when you lock yourself into the paradigm that this book has the answer, this recipe is the one that works, this ebo is always the ebo that we perform for this problem, this Odu always says this, you really box yourself out of the true beauty, wisdom, and power of this philosophy, the philosophy that was always meant to be dynamic, always meant to be changing. And two, you embrace the worldview of other traditions that, quite frankly, contribute to the closed-mindedness of this society. I won't put other religious paradigms on blast or denigrate any of them, but that's the mindset, that this is how it is, this is how it was, and this is always how it will be, with no consideration into the changing world, the changing times, the changing technology, the changing understandings of science, and the changing understanding of the world around us. You know, people always ask me for an example of what I mean. A fantastic example is a question that I get asked all the time, and that is, can I say my morning prayers in English? Do I have to know them in Yoruba? My native tongue is Spanish. I always give back the tongue-in-cheek answer. If Orumula can't understand your prayer because you said it in Spanish or English or Swedish, then we're probably doing the wrong thing. If the energy of this tradition can't transcend time, space, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, then we're probably doing the wrong thing. If Orumula and the Orishas are limited by those facets, then I certainly don't want to be practicing this tradition. Then I'm doing the wrong thing. The truth is that these energies were here long before we were. Will be here long after. We're created by Elodamare, by the one creative force, for all men, women, children to tap into to make their lives better. So that being the case, it shouldn't matter what language you pray in. It shouldn't matter if you pray in your head or if you pray out loud. It shouldn't matter if you use herbs, stones, if you still use animals, if you don't. What should matter is your understanding of the energies, your understanding of the Odu, your ability to work within this paradigm based on the very few genuine rules, guides to behavior that there are. And then once you grasp that information, your ability to open your mind and your heart to new ways of doing things, and then to begin to empower others as you have been empowered. You know, IFA's goal is to make this world a better place than it was when we found it. It starts with us, and then it spreads to our immediate circle, our family, our close friends. Then it spreads to our community. Then it should spread to the country we live in, and at some point, the entire planet that we live on as one family. Uh, that's what you need to be working towards. And there is no set answer to how to get there. It's your spiritual paradigm, it's your spiritual journey. Do the things that are consistent with what feels good to you. Look to elders that are open minded, that are intelligent, that study, that teach, that do. Ask intelligent questions. Allow them to guide your development once you've established that they're someone worthy of listening to. And then take the bits and pieces that resonate to you. And if something doesn't, then leave it. It's okay. As always, I welcome questions, comments, criticisms, and concerns. And until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.